The rotary phone sat in my grandmother's study, its black bakelite surface collecting dust in the corner. I'd inherited her Victorian house a week ago, and that phone was the only thing I couldn't bring myself to throw away. There was something almost alive about it, the way its spiral cord coiled like a sleeping snake against the wall. The fact that it hadn't been connected to any phone line for at least 20 years should have been my first warning. I was sorting through old photographs when it rang. Not a modern ringtone, but that distinct mechanical bell sound that seemed to echo through the bones of the house. My heart nearly stopped. I stared at the phone, watching it ring again, the sound impossibly loud in the quiet room. Logic told me this couldn't be happening, but my hand was already reaching for the receiver. The voice on the other end was young, feminine, familiar in a way I couldn't place. "Hello, is this the Morrison residence?" Static crackled between each word. "I need to speak with Eleanor, please. It's about Thomas." My grandmother's name was Eleanor. Thomas was my grandfather, who disappeared in 1962. I'd seen their wedding photo just moments ago. "Eleanor isn't here," I managed to say. "She passed away last week. Who is this?" The line went dead. That night, I researched everything I could about the phone. It was a Western Electric model from 1961, the same year my grandparents bought the house. The same year before everything went wrong. The calls continued, each one coming from a different point in the past. A delivery man from 1961 confirming a furniture order. A friend of my grandmother's inviting her to a bridge game in 1962. Each call ended abruptly, leaving me with more questions than answers. I started keeping a log. The calls always came between 2:15 and 3:33 a.m. They were always connected to my grandparents somehow, but it was the last call that changed everything. It came at exactly 3:33 a.m., 5 days after the first ring. The voice was my grandfather's. "Eleanor, honey, I need you to listen carefully." His words were urgent, threaded with fear. "Don't trust him. He's not who he says he is. The man who's been visiting, claiming to be from the bank, he's after the documents. Whatever you do, don't let him in tonight. I'm on my way home." My hands trembled as I held the receiver. "Thomas, this isn't Eleanor, it's her granddaughter. What happened to you?" The static grew louder, his voice more distant. "The safe behind the painting, the blue folder, you have to." The line crackled violently. I spent the rest of the night tearing the study apart. Behind my grandmother's ancient landscape painting, I found the safe. Inside was a blue folder, its contents untouched for decades. The documents told a story my family had buried. Thomas hadn't simply disappeared. He'd uncovered a massive financial fraud at his bank. The night he vanished, he'd been racing home with evidence. His car was later found abandoned by the river. No body was ever recovered. The phone rang again the next night. This time, it was a different man's voice, smooth and professional. "Eleanor, dear, it's Richard from the bank. I'm outside. Could you let me in? It's rather urgent." My blood ran cold. I recognized that voice from an old recording in the folder. Richard Hayes, the bank's vice president, who'd retired wealthy the year after my grandfather vanished. Through the study window, I could see a figure standing in the garden, looking up at the house. But when I blinked, he was gone. The calls stopped after that night. Maybe because I'd finally learned the truth, or maybe because the past had nothing left to tell me. I took the documents to the authorities. 3 months later, they found my grandfather's remains in a concrete foundation poured in 1962 on property owned by Richard Hayes. The phone sits in my study now, silent but waiting. Sometimes, late at night, I swear I can hear it humming, as if the lines between past and present are still open, as if time itself is holding its breath, waiting for the next call. But the most terrifying thing? Yesterday, I noticed something I hadn't before. The phone's cord isn't just unplugged, it's been severed. Clean through. It always was. And yet, when I pick up the receiver in the dead of night, I still hear a dial tone, whispering secrets from yesterday, carrying voices that should have been silenced decades ago. They say the past is never truly dead. Now I know why. It's still trying to warn us, one phone call at a time.